The cold bit through Captain Arya Vasa's jacket as the dropship pierced the Himalayan atmosphere, its engines whining low against the relentless wind. Below them, jagged peaks pierced cloud banks, ancient and indifferent. This was Earth's forgotten cradle, a place whispered about in legends but hidden from the prying eyes of the galaxy. Arya's eyes narrowed, scanning the barren landscape for the coordinates etched into her wrist implant. The sanctuary lay deep within a concealed cavern, its entrance marked only by a series of alien glyphs interlaced with archaic human script. Few knew the full truth, that beneath these mountains slept a protector forged in an age before recorded history, a warrior whose strength might turn the tide against the Galactic Council's tyranny. Approaching drop point, the pilot's voice crackled through the comms. Prepare for landing. Arya checked her gear, pulse rifle, neural interface module, and the encrypted datapad carrying the activation sequence. Every detail mattered. This mission was more than a retrieval, it was a resurrection of Earth's lost might. The dropship touched down near a narrow crevice hidden by scree and ice. The team disembarked swiftly, their boots crunching on frozen stone. Arya led the way, her breath forming quick clouds in the frigid air. Glyphs are up ahead, she whispered, fingers brushing the rough stone wall. Strange symbols shimmered faintly, reacting to the proximity of her neural implant. Ready the sequence. We don't have much time before Council scouts notice our activity. Dr. Soren, the team's xenolinguist, tapped rapidly on his hollow tablet. These markings are a fusion, ancient human dialect with what appears to be precursors technology. It's a sophisticated lock. Arya nodded, eyes steady. Then we better be precise. At her command, the encrypted code pulsed through her implant and into the glyphs. Light flared along the crevice's edges, revealing a narrow passage spiraling downward into darkness. The air shifted, a deep hum thrummed beneath their feet, alive, expectant. The team descended carefully, helmets casting beams across walls etched with murals of battles long past, towering figures clad in armor, wielding weapons that fused technology and raw power. Arya's heart quickened as they reached a vast chamber sealed by an enormous circular door, inscribed with the same intricate glyphs. This is it, Arya said, her voice barely more than a breath. The warrior's crypt. With coordinated precision, the team initiated the final override. The door shuddered, then ground open, revealing a chamber bathed in a pale blue light. At its center lay a colossal sarcophagus, sleek and alien in design. The surface rippled like liquid metal, sealed tight. Arya approached, reverence mixing with urgency. Activating now. A voice echoed softly through the chamber, synthetic, yet eerily human. Protocol initiated. Awakening sequence engaged. Panels along the sarcophagus slid aside, revealing a figure suspended in a translucent cocoon. The warrior's form was immense, muscles sculpted beneath armor plates that shimmered with embedded circuitry. His face, partially obscured by a helm, was calm but hinted at endless storms beneath. Arya stepped closer, heart pounding. Can you hear me? Earth needs you. The warrior's eyes fluttered open, glowing with a fierce sapphire light. A low growl escaped his throat, filled with confusion and ancient pain. Where? His voice was deep, layered with echoes of the past. Your home, Arya replied gently. But the galaxy has changed. The Council killed one of our own, a child diplomat. They crossed a line. We need you. The warrior struggled to sit up, limbs heavy as if bound by centuries of sleep. I remembered battles, betrayals, the fall. Yes, Arya said, kneeling beside him. But now you must fight again. For humanity. Behind them, the team monitored data streams as the warrior's systems synchronized with Earth's neural networks. His bioenhancements responded, recalibrating for the present. Dr. Soren whispered. His genetics are far beyond anything we've encountered. This was humanity's ultimate guardian, lost to time. The warrior's gaze hardened, the fire of purpose rekindled. I was made to protect. To destroy threats that would undo humanity's legacy. Arya clasped his armored hand. Then help us stop the Council's war before it begins. A distant rumble shook the cavern, signs that the Galactic Council's forces were mobilizing. The awakening was no secret for long. The warrior rose, towering over them. "Lead me to battle. I will remind the stars why Earth is not to be underestimated." Arya's breath caught, a surge of hope amidst the cold shadows. "Together we will show them." Outside, the winds howled. Beneath ancient stone and modern resolve, a legend reawakened. The war for humanity had begun. The silence of the sanctuary was broken only by the faint hum of ancient machinery awakening from a long slumber. Captain Arya Voss stood beside the colossal figure now fully risen from his sarcophagus. The warrior's armor reflected the dim glow of the chamber, every plate etched with intricate patterns, symbols of battles fought and victories won in a forgotten age. Yet beneath the imposing exterior, a storm of memory stirred, fragmented and elusive. "Tell me your name," Arya urged gently. The warrior's eyes, still luminous, met hers with a flicker of recognition and sorrow. "I am Kalen," he said, voice gravelly from disuse. "Once I was humanity's shield, their sword. But my name faded when the world cast me into shadow." Arya nodded, understanding that the man before her was a living relic, burdened with centuries of silence. "You were sealed away to protect you, and us. The Galactic Council believes we are weak. They killed our diplomat child, thinking it a show of power. But they've only awakened what they feared." Kalen's gaze hardened. "Their arrogance blinds them. I felt their presence even while dormant. The threads of war weave ever tighter." As the team began the process of adapting Kalen to the present, Arya guided him through a holographic display of the current political landscape. Star systems blinked like distant embers, some allied with Earth, others hostile, many indifferent. The Galactic Council dominated, a tangled web of power and intrigue that few dared challenge. "I am overwhelmed," Kalen admitted, running a hand over his armored chest. "This era is unfamiliar. Your weapons, your tactics, different from what I knew. That's why we need time," Arya said firmly. "And trust. I'll train you in our ways, and you'll teach me what it means to fight like you did." Kalen's lips curved into a faint, almost forgotten smile. "A partnership forged in necessity." "Good." Later, as the sanctuary's walls pulsed with soft light, Kalen's memories unfolded in fractured visions. Images of a once glorious Earth flashed, soaring cities of crystal and steel, skies filled with crafts bearing humanity's sigils, and battlegrounds scorched by alien fire. He recalled the rise of an ancient enemy, a coalition of starborn invaders who shattered Earth's golden age. Arya watched him silently, sensing the weight of loss carried in those visions. "What stopped you?" she asked quietly. "Betrayal," Kalen replied, voice thick with bitterness. "Our own turned against us, fearing the power we wielded. They sealed me away, convinced that silence would save what remained. But it only delayed the inevitable." The truth struck Arya harder than she expected. Humanity's greatest protector had been abandoned in fear, left to sleep while the galaxy moved on, blind to the cost. Meanwhile, in the far reaches of the Galactic Council's citadel, High Chancellor Xyrix paced his chamber, eyes dark with fury. His advisors flanked him, hesitant but resolute. "Earth dares to defy us," Xyrix growled. "Their ancient secrets threaten the balance we have forged. The warrior's awakening is a provocation," one counselor ventured. "Perhaps we underestimated their resolve." "They've changed," Xyrix sneered. "They have not. They are still children playing with weapons beyond their understanding. We will remind them." Back in the sanctuary, Arya pushed Kalen harder. Combat drills echoed through the cavern, a symphony of strikes, blocks, and tactical maneuvers. Kalen's strength was undeniable, but his style was archaic, brutal in ways that risked collateral damage. "Slow down!" Arya commanded after a heavy blow sent a training dummy crashing. "Precision, not just power. The galaxy doesn't fight in single blows anymore." Kalen lowered his fist, frustration flickering. "In my time, one strike ended wars. Now wars are won with strategy and unity," she replied. "Let me show you." Their training sessions grew into conversations, exchanges about honor, duty, and the sacrifices demanded by war. Arya learned of Kaelin's doubts, the guilt of centuries spent in silence, and the pain of a world lost. I feel displaced, Kaelin confessed during a rare moment of vulnerability. How do I fight for a future I barely understand? You fight for the people who still believe, Arya said firmly. For those who will stand beside you. For Earth. The alliance between warrior and captain deepened, a bridge spanning centuries. Together, they prepared for the storm Xyrex was unleashing, a reckoning that would decide humanity's fate. As the days passed, the sanctuary buzzed with renewed purpose. Scientists and soldiers alike worked tirelessly, blending ancient technology with modern innovations. Kaelin's armor was upgraded, his systems synchronized with Earth's defense networks. Arya stood before the assembled team one evening, resolve shining in her eyes. This is more than a mission. It's a declaration. The galaxy will remember Earth, not as a footnote, but as a force to be reckoned with. Kaelin joined her, voice steady and commanding. And I will be the sword that cuts through their arrogance. Outside, the wind howled against the mountain's ancient stone, carrying a warning that rippled through the stars. Earth's guardian had awakened. The cold void of space stretched endlessly before Captain Arya Voss as she stood on the bridge of the Eagle's Talon, Earth's most advanced stealth frigate. The stars flickered like distant beacons, but none shone brighter in her mind than the urgency pounding in her chest. The Galactic Council's fleet was closing in, swift, merciless, and overwhelming. Sensors picking up multiple hostile signatures, Captain, Lieutenant Rin called out. Council dreadnoughts and escort cruisers, approaching from the Theta Quadrant. Arya's gaze locked on the holographic display, where dozens of vessels blotted out the blackness like a swarm. Status of our strike team? Fully deployed, Ren answered. Warrior Kaelin and reconnaissance squads en route to intercept. Arya's jaw tightened. This was no longer a political standoff, it was a battle for survival. Prepare for engagement, she ordered. This ends now. Minutes later, Kaelin's massive figure emerged from the shadow of an asteroid belt, cloaked in the latest Earth stealth tech yet unmistakably a colossus. The warrior moved with calculated purpose, every step shaking the void. His armor gleamed coldly, systems humming in lethal harmony. Kaelin to Eagle's Talon. His voice thundered through comms. I've located the lead council frigate. Preparing assault. Arya's heart surged. You're clear to engage. Use discretion. The warrior's reply was a low growl. Discretion is a luxury I can no longer afford. With that, Kaelin launched forward, his massive fist colliding with the enemy hull. The impact rocked the frigate, a thunderclap in the silence of space. Energy ripples tore through the council's shields, sparks erupting like fireworks. Arya watched, breath held, as Kaelin grappled with the enemy vessel, tearing through armor plates and disabling weapon arrays. His brute strength was a spectacle, a force of nature unleashed. Watch your flank, Ren shouted. Council fighters incoming! From the shadows, sleek attack craft streaked toward Kaelin, plasma bolts trailing in their wake. But the warrior was swift. He pivoted, catching a fighter mid-flight and hurling it like a ragdoll into the side of a cruiser. Explosions bloomed across the enemy fleet. Impressive, Arya muttered. But this is only the beginning. Suddenly, the ship's alarm blared. Incoming missile salvo! The bridge shook as the Eagle's Talon veered sharply to avoid a barrage. Arya barked orders. Evasive maneuvers! Deploy countermeasures! As the crew scrambled, Kaelin focused on disabling the missile platforms. His hands emitted pulses of energy, weapons integrated within his armor. One by one, missile tubes erupted in controlled detonations. Kaelin, status report! Arya demanded. Operating at 70%, he replied, voice strained but resolute. Council forces are formidable. They adapt quickly. Arya's mind raced. The Council had underestimated Earth's resolve, but they still wielded technological superiority. We need a strategy that leverages both your strength and our agility. A flicker of understanding crossed Kaelin's eyes. Combine brute force with precision. I will target their command ship, you coordinate fleet maneuvers. Agreed. Aria's voice was steady, infused with newfound confidence. Let's finish this. The battle intensified. Kalen surged toward the lead dreadnought, a towering fortress bristling with weapons. Council gunners unleashed torrents of plasma fire, but the warrior deflected with energy shields, advancing relentlessly. On the bridge, Arya directed the frigate's movements, coordinating with other Earth vessels to flank the enemy. She relayed tactical commands with sharp efficiency, turning chaos into orchestrated offense. Kalen, the command ship's forward shield is weakening, Ren reported. This is your chance. The warrior's fist slammed into the dreadnought's hull, cracking armor like glass. Energy conduits sparked wildly. Inside the vessel, alarms screamed as the Council's crew scrambled. Kalen's voice rang through the enemy comm channels, amplified and distorted. Your arrogance ends here. Earth will not bow. A final, massive explosion engulfed the dreadnought as Kalen's internal reactors overloaded its core. The ship disintegrated in a fiery blossom, debris scattering into the void. Cheers erupted on the Eagle's talon, but Aria's eyes remained sharp. They won't give up that easily. Prepare for counterattack. Indeed, new Council fleets emerged from jump gates, more numerous and aggressive. The battle escalated into a sprawling war across multiple fronts. Amid the chaos, Arya and Kalen fought side by side. The warriors' raw power shattered enemy lines, while Arya's tactical brilliance guided Earth's fleet with unyielding resolve. Between skirmishes, Kalen spoke, voice tinged with a rare humility. Your era fights with cunning and unity. I underestimated this strength. Arya smiled faintly. And you remind us that sometimes, raw power is necessary. Together, they forged a new legend, one born from the clash of ancient might and modern ingenuity. As the dust of battle settled, Arya sent a message across Council channels, defiant and clear. Earth stands united. Challenge us again, and face the wrath of a warrior reborn. In the dark silence that followed, High Chancellor Xyrix's face twisted with fury. The war had only just begun. The Eagle's talon drifted through the cold abyss, a lone sentinel amidst the storm of war. Captain Arya Voss stood rigid on the bridge, eyes locked on the swirling map of the battlefront. Across countless star systems, Earth's forces clashed relentlessly with the might of the Galactic Council. The war had escalated beyond any expectation, raw fury meeting calculated power, the fate of humanity hanging by a fragile thread. Status report. Arya commanded, voice sharp but steady. Lieutenant Ren's fingers flew over the console. Council armada reinforced with new dreadnoughts. They've blocked several supply lines. Our resources are strained. Arya's gaze flickered to Kalen, seated nearby but tense, his presence a towering contrast to the fragility of their situation. The warrior's armor, scarred and battle-worn, still radiated an indomitable energy. Yet even his strength had limits. They pushed too hard, Kalen growled. Their arrogance will be their undoing. Arya nodded. We need a decisive strike, break their lines and shatter their command. A sudden alert interrupted the moment. Incoming transmission, from Council flagship. Arya hesitated, then authorized the connection. The vast command deck of the Council's flagship materialized on the screen. There, High Chancellor Xyrix's stern visage dominated the frame. His eyes burned with cold calculation. Captain Voss, Xyrix intoned, voice icy. Your defiance is commendable but futile. Surrender now, and I may grant leniency. Arya met his gaze without flinching. Leniency? You murdered a child diplomat. You crushed peace under your boot. Earth will never submit to tyranny. Xyrix's lips curled into a cruel smile. Then prepare for extinction. The transmission ended abruptly, replaced by an urgent warning. A fleet of Council reinforcements was warping in, an overwhelming force intent on obliterating Earth's last strongholds. Arya's mind raced. We can't face them head-on. Kalen stood, imposing as ever. Then we fight where they least expect it. Arya's eyes sharpened. A strike on their command hub? Exactly, Kalen said. Disrupt their leadership, and their fleet will falter. Together, they devised a bold plan, a covert assault on the Council's central command station, deep within enemy territory. The Eagle's Talon would spearhead the attack, Kalen leading a team of elite operatives through the station's defenses. As preparations unfolded, Arya and Kalen shared a moment away from the clamor. The warrior's expression was unreadable, shadows flickering in his eyes. "Do you fear this mission?" Arya asked quietly. Kalen's jaw tightened. "Fear is a luxury I cannot afford. But I carry the weight of all who fell before me." Arya placed a steady hand on his armored arm. "You don't carry that burden alone. We fight for a future where no one dies forgotten." The assault began under the cloak of a solar eclipse, the galaxy's light dimmed in ominous silence. Kalen led the strike team through labyrinthine corridors, their movements swift and silent. Council guards, elite and ruthless, fell beneath Kalen's overwhelming strength and the operatives' precision. The air hummed with tension as they breached the station's core. Inside the command center, holographic displays flickered with activity. Arya hacked into the Council's networks, unraveling encrypted communications and exposing Xyrix's plans. Suddenly, alarms blared. Reinforcements surged. The team was trapped. "Hold the line!" Kalen bellowed, energy shields flaring as he withstood a barrage of plasma fire. His fists shattered consoles and weapons alike, carving a path through chaos. Arya's fingers danced across her console. "I'm uploading a virus to cripple their systems. Just a few more seconds." Outside, Council troops closed in. The team fought desperately, every second stretched taut. The virus completed. Systems blinked and failed. Power flickered. The command station shuddered, defenses collapsing. "Retreat!" Arya ordered. They escaped through hidden tunnels, emerging to the wreckage of a shattered fleet. The Council's forces were in disarray, their command fractured. Back on the Eagle's Talon, Arya confronted Xyrix once more, this time on her terms. The Chancellor's image appeared, haggard but unyielding. "This war is lost," Arya declared. "Your empire will crumble." Xyrix's sneer faltered. "You underestimate the Council's will." "No," Arya replied firmly. "You underestimated humanity's resolve." As transmission ended, the warrior stepped forward, voice resolute. "The galaxy has seen Earth's strength. We are no longer shadows in the dark." Victory was not yet assured, but the tide had turned. The galactic reckoning had begun, and humanity stood ready to claim its place among the stars. The dust of war had settled, but the echoes of battle lingered in the corridors of the Eagle's Talon. Captain Arya Voss stood alone on the observation deck, gazing at the expanse of stars beyond the reinforced glass. The galaxy had changed, no longer a place where humanity was dismissed or underestimated. The price was etched in every scar on her body, every loss borne by those who had fought beside her. Behind her, footsteps echoed, heavy, purposeful. Kalen entered, his armor marked by countless clashes yet still radiant with a fierce glow. His eyes, once filled with confusion and pain, now burned with clarity and purpose. "We have won a measure of peace," Kalen said, voice steady yet tinged with solemnity. "But peace is a fragile gift." Arya nodded. "The Council's power wanes, their arrogance shattered. Earth stands recognized, a force to be reckoned with." Kalen's gaze drifted to the stars. "I was forged to protect a world that no longer existed. Now I must learn to guard one reborn." Their partnership, born from necessity, had grown into something deeper, a bond bridging centuries of history and hope. Together, they had ignited a new era. News arrived from the Galactic Council chambers. Delegates, shaken by the decisive battles, called for reform. The High Chancellor Xyrix was deposed, replaced by a coalition willing to acknowledge Earth's sovereignty and strength. Arya addressed the crew, her voice resolute. "We fought not just for survival, but for recognition. For the right to shape our destiny." Cheers rose, tempered by the memories of sacrifice. Among the crowd, whispers spoke of Kalen, the ancient warrior reborn as humanity's champion. Later, in the sanctuary beneath the Himalayas, scientists and engineers worked tirelessly to integrate Kalen into Earth's future defenses. His armor was upgraded, melding ancient technology with modern innovations. Kalen stood amidst the hum of machinery, absorbing data streams that expanded his understanding. "This era's wars will be fought differently," he remarked. "But the core remains: strength, honor, and sacrifice." Arya joined him, her expression thoughtful. "And together, we ensure those sacrifices are not in vain." Outside, the world had begun to change. Earth's cities flourished with renewed vigor, united by a common purpose. Nations once divided now stood aligned, inspired by the resurgence of their ancient guardian. Yet beneath the surface, deep in the mountains' shadows, others stirred. The legacy of Earth's protectors was not singular. Arya knew the warrior's awakening was just the beginning. "We must be vigilant," she said softly. "For peace is only the calm before the next storm." Kalen's eyes met hers, unwavering. "Then we stand ready. As guardians, as warriors, as humanity's shield." The stars beyond sparkled brighter, bearing witness to a new chapter. Earth's legacy had been reclaimed, not in whispers or shadows, but in the resolute roar of those who refused to be forgotten. And as long as that fire burned, the galaxy would remember the name of Earth.